Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's the KYREN Monteiro Show, season number 5, episode number 2, The Visionary Walk, featuring the one and only Ronald Morrell Jr., man. We're going to start y'all off with some music, then we're going to get up in this thing, man. New album, Visionary, available right now.
Visionary, building something up cause you a boss. Enduring all that comes with every win and loss. Sacrificing and believing, gotta pay the cost. Gotta keep your mind focused, it begins with thought. Visionary, I'm a visionary.
Yes, sir.
I was down in the dumps, for real, felt too tragic. Self-inflicted wounds, I admit, was too heavy.
Long gaps in there, man. What's going on, man? It's KYREN Monteiro, man, the host of the KYREN Monteiro Show. Give a round of applause for yourself, man. So, you know, when you got a real one on, man, we gotta do a little bit of storytelling real quick, man. So I remember it's about 2012. I'm going by the Messenger at the time. I'm booked for a youth conference, and it's this dude going crazy with this group, right? And so I see my homie Will Robinson on the keys. See my dude Damian Daniel up there, and some other cats that I knew. Now I see a familiar face. We knew each other, but we ain't know each other. And so I needed a drummer at the time, and I'm like, man, homie is cold. So I approached him, and he became a drummer, and ever since then, real friendship came together. And since then, we've been locked in, man, and seen each other's different levels, the highs and lows, and been through the trenches and the ups and downs, man. So I'm here on the show to welcome the legendary, the visionary innovator himself, currently Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr., man. Round of applause, man.
Much love, man. I appreciate it, man. It's a great introduction, man.
You approve of that?
Yeah, that's good, man. You can run that back anytime you want. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
So, man, when it comes to being a visionary, by the way, for the people watching, man, we are calling season 5 Vision Talk. Inspired off my new album in stores right now called Visionary. And one guy I know that is a visionary is yourself, right? And so I want to go back for a little bit. You've been around entrepreneurship and leadership your whole life, right? Your grandparents owns oldest black business in the city right now. The Marion, Indiana, Morrell's floor covering. You grew up in the church. So tell me, let's go back. Tell me how that upbringing brought you to where you are right now.
Yeah, man. Wow, man. Shout out to my grandparents, all my family, man. It's a lot of things that I'm very thankful for. Coming up. Obviously having very involved parents and grandparents on both sides of my family. Coming up around entrepreneurship, so many lessons that I learned from my grandfather that I try to share as much as I can. But, one thing that always stuck with me, and he just told me the story again recently, so I'll share it now, is that when he graduated high school in 1962, everybody was going to work at RCA at the time. So he said he did what everybody else did, went and worked at RCA for a week, and they said he paid him $50 for a whole week.
So what was minimum wage back then?
Who knows? But he worked the whole week, RCA, and made $50.
Wow.
And then he said that after that, he went and laid floor covering and made $50 in one day. And he said, I'm never going back to work again.
Mm.
So, that kind of motivation and that kind of lessons from that has been great, man. Then also, obviously, coming up in church is a big thing, too, man, that, there's so much lessons and discipline and etiquette you learn from coming up in church that really can be transferred over to everything you want to do in life, man. So I'm very thankful for that upbringing and how they invested in me and it's helped me become who I am today.
Man, that's crazy. $50 in a week and then went to $50 in a day.
Yeah, man. Yep.
So if you did the inflation calculator, how much? What is that equivalent to?
Oh man, I don't know. I had to flip my phone one day and do it. But yeah, I mean,
what year was that?
1962.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So I would say, man, there's so many things that come from that upbringing, man. Like that you was able to learn. I mean, the challenges of being an entrepreneur too, man, is a lot of things that people overlook, right? So it comes with a lot of challenging. It also comes with a lot of rewards. All in all, man, I think that upbringing and that discipline and that knowledge base has really propelled me to be who I am and where I am today.
So speaking of you being an entrepreneur, well, first off, you grew up in the city of Marion, born and raised.
Yep, born and raised.
Came up a musician and an athlete.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me a story. So for the people, your first business was a lawn care company.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So even though you came up around your grandfather and them, that didn't just throw you into entrepreneurship. How did you get thrown into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, man. So I was 16, man. That's the age when you start wanting money to go out and do things and all the things that come with it, right? And I remember one summer I was with my pops, and he went and bought me a push lawnmower, a weed eater, and a blower. And he reached out he built me a clientele list, right? I think I had probably 10 clients, and he connected me with Sally Jenks. Shout out Sally, she's still a realtor in town. She was my first major client in this. And he gave me a book of business, which was like 10 people. Bought me the equipment and said, don't ask me for no money. So basically he invested, gave me all the stuff, right? The equipment I needed, clientele. And then so I ran that businessman from when I was 16 until I was probably 20, 22 or 23. And it was a blessing to be able to, I mean, first of all, I mean, looking back now, it helps build your name ID, your stuff around the town. You help to make your own money. And this is real life. So most people at 16, 17 is working at some kind of fast food joint or whatever they're doing, right? So from that formative part of my high school years, from like my 16 to my senior year, people were working, doing those jobs, and I would work in the summer, man. This was no exaggeration. I had like a Range Rover. I was doing it, man. Like I was I was in high school, man. Like just like I was like I'm thinking, man. Looking back, I was probably making 16, 17, probably $1,000 a week, killing them, right? Killing them doing that lawn care stuff.
And there's people going to factories right now working 40 hours to get that. I'm
telling you, man. I ran that business from 16 until I was 22, I think. And then I gave it to my little brother, and he ran it for another 2 or 3 years after that. But I mean, I made a lot of money doing that, man. It taught me so many lessons, man. One, it taught me, you can go out and you don't have to wait around for people. You don't have to wait around to try to figure out how to make money. And that was a big lesson for me there. And then also, just learning how to run and conduct your own business was a huge thing for me. And learn how to interact with people, clients. There's times you mess up. You know what I mean? You got to go back and fix it, and all kind of things like that. So, and then teaches you how to deal with small clients, like individuals, and then like more major clients that have like one client that has 15 lawns you got to go take care of. So it was one of the best things that my dad did for me coming up. At the time, I didn't like it, right? Because in the summertime, everybody else is kicking it, right? They're hanging out.
And you working.
I'm working, bro. Working, cutting grass, cleaning all day, bro. I would start probably, 9 o'clock in the morning and get done probably 5, get it in, and then I would have all kind of money. Then, like, when everybody else was struggling, I had everything, bro. I had all the shoes, I had a car, I had everything I wanted, bro. So, it was definitely a blessing and a lot to learn from that. I'm very appreciative of my dad for doing that for me.
So there's a couple of lessons that I hear in what you're saying. First off, you wanted a pair of Jordans, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted. That age you want everything, bro. I wanted I had like 2 cars, right? So I had an old school, which was green with like.
This is before you started the business.
No, I bought the car at first when I started the business.
But you wanting him going and start getting you the stuff to start the business. Mm-hmm. What made him do that is you asked him for a pair of shoes, correct?
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
Yep. So then, yeah, man. So like, I wanted to have all the newest shoes. I wanted to have car. I wanted what most stuff people in high school want. You know what I mean? And from that investment he made in me, you know, I was able to go out and get it, man. And so it was really a blessing.
100%, man. So you salute to your pops, man. So you start that business, you run it, phase out of that. What's the next thing that you get into?
So after that, I did that all the way through high school. Through college, my undergrad, and then I graduated, and then me and my wife moved away because I was getting my master's, and I actually came back, and I was actually being a worship pastor at a church here in Marion. And I did that. I was probably doing that for about a year, and I always had that bug, like I wanted to start another business because, you know, this just one thing wasn't enough for me to live like the life I want to live. You know, I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to figure out how to make some money stretch to the next week. I want something. It's a hustle inside of me. You know what I mean? It's like this. You know, it's this constant battle between being content and being hungry that I'm always facing every day, even to this day, right? I'm always facing every day of this battle of contentment as well as this hunger for trying to push for what's next, right? So all that to say, while I was being the worship leader of the church, me and my wife got to go on we were married for 1 year at this time, so we went on our 1 year anniversary trip to Nashville, Tennessee.
What year is this?
This takes me to 2018, June 2018. So we're down there, experiencing Nashville. You know, I'm only working one job. I'm staying in this little off-budget hotel. You know what I'm saying? We got to walk to Broadway. You know, and so I'm walking.
And by the way, this dude is a number whiz. So when he said that he was on a budget, he probably had calculated down to the French fry that they was going to eat.
So listen, we walk, we off the beaten path, right? So we got to walk 1.5 miles, 2 miles to get to where the action is. It's hot. You know, people who know me know I sweat a lot. So it's hot. It's summertime. Tennessee hot in June, you know what I mean? So I'm walking, my shirt is wet, and I see somebody zip past me on an electric scooter. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, at this time, yeah, remind you, this is 2018, so people really wasn't on it. It was a foreign concept to see somebody riding a stand-up scooter. So I seen somebody zoom past me on one. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen that before. Then I see another person zoom past me. That's two. I'm like, that's interesting. Then then I start looking around, bro. It was like hundreds of people on scooters all at the same time. I'm like, man, that's interesting. So I finally stopped somebody. I said, man, how are you doing that? And he said, download the app, and just took off. I'm like, what app? You know what I mean? So now I walk and you see a scooter, so then you get on there, you see now I mean, talking in 2025, everybody knows how it works, right? So back then it was a foreign concept. Like, you get your phone out and you scan the QR code and it takes you to the app, then you put your card on the app, then it charges your card and you pay $1. It was like mind blowing to me in 2018. So we did it. We ended up driving those. It was Bird was the company, so we was one of the first ones. So we ended up driving those scooters all day, man. For the rest of the night, it was the most fun experience I ever had. And I got back to the hotel room, and I told my wife, I'm like, man, I gotta figure out how to bring this to Indiana. So at that time, like, nobody had them in Indiana yet. Like, they didn't drop them in Indianapolis yet. So I get back, and probably 4 months later, they drop in Indianapolis. So now people, it's crazy, because if you go back and look at the news stories, you'll see, like, people didn't know how to respond to them. Like, they were trying to ban them. People was running. It was all kind of crazy stuff going on. So my idea was, like, man, if I could figure out how to bring this idea, this experience that I had to small town Indiana. So so I started looking it up, right? And I came across, a few franchise opportunities. Like, one was with Bird, and it was like you had to invest a minimum like $175,000. I'm like, okay, I'm leading worship, bro. I'm making like $35,000. I don't got that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how. I can't even get that off the ground. So like, that's not an option. So I kept looking up and looking and looking. And I finally found a company out of Delaware that did. This part of the story I'll tell you the name. GOAT. They what they did was gave you the opportunity to buy only six scooters at a time, and you can just put your scooters on their already existing app platform, because the majority of the expense, right, when you're doing these things, was the app development portion of it. So you could put your scooters on their platform and run. They take care of everything, the insurance, all the stuff. Right? I'm like, oh, fine, my bet, let's do it. So I ordered the 6 scooters. I think I had a credit card at that time. It was Capital One. And I had like a $5,500 limit. I maxed that boy on to buy these 6 scooters. I bought them. They came in, man, and then so that's what it took me to when I finally had all the paperwork and everything done. The scooters were here. I got a picture somewhere. I had to find it. It's with my daughter was young, my first Olivia. So this would have been, she was born in June of 2019. So these scooters arrived in like October. So she's like, however many months it is, 5-6 months. And she's in the picture, right? My wife is holding her new baby with this new crazy business venture I went on. So long story short, man, bought those scooters. 2019, got to run for like 2 months and killed it, right? It was a great experience, man. And then the next year was COVID. So, you know, everybody's businesses was crazy. Things were going awry. But for me, the COVID was really a blessing because people they really weren't doing much. So they wanted
it was locked up,
and they wanted to be outside. The only thing you could do was be outside, right? So I bought more scooters and put them outside. People was riding them things like crazy, man, all throughout the city. I hired this is COVID is funny. Shout out to Darius Weaver, man. He actually used to be he used to sanitize scooters every day for me. Like, so I hired, he like full out sanitized, man. So we were doing it, man. 2020, 2021 was the biggest growth year. We expanded across 5 different cities. That was one of the craziest experiences. Yeah, man. That was a crazy experience because there's so many lessons in that, man. So we expanded across 5 different cities, and one of the things that this was actually, I guess, prepping me for what I ended up doing now is being the mayor. So, like, in order for me to get into those cities, you had to go to the city council meetings and present the scooter ordinance for the cities to be able to allow and function, right? So I wrote an ordinance. So this was way before I was even in politics, right? So I wrote an ordinance at the top of 2021 that could be copied and pasted throughout cities. So I presented that to the cities and got that passed. For my business at that time, but I mean, I wasn't in politics at all, so got that done. And then, man, this is a duality, but it lessons with expansion, right? So it's good to expand. You want to make more money. To scale up is great, right? But also scaling up is hard, and it brings a lot of more challenges, right? So we scaled up so big, man. I had 10 employees, like 2 in each city, right? And then I had like a general manager person that would drive. I went and bought a company vehicle and that would drive between cities every day. So I'm at this time, so 2021, I'm sorry. So this is what, 4 years ago? Longer than that, right? 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when this comes out. So I was, 26, 27, had 10 employees. We jugging. I mean, so much stuff. I didn't know what it was like to have an employee. I had to learn how to do 1099. I didn't know nothing. So yeah.
So with that, you going back to the example of your grandpa made $50 in a week, lay floor, made $50 in a day. Said I ain't never doing this again. Now you was making 30-something thousand a year, bro, and then talk about the transition from worship leader to entrepreneur.
Man, there's so much lessons like that. This is gonna be a good show. I'm gonna do a lot of transparent stuff on here. So, I mean, when it was hitting like 2021, it was doing like I had months where I was doing like 25,000 a month.
So you was essentially doing your full-time salary
in a month, bro. Yes,
but you had overhead out of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing to learn about business, right? You have overhead, you got taxes. I'll never forget. Like, I thought, because, with the business I'm in, I had to pay, like it's called motor vehicle rental tax and sales tax every month. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'm paying taxes. This is the taxes I got to pay. And then, the end of the year get there, like, no, you got to pay taxes on all the stuff. I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about that, So it's so many lessons. Well, even another mistake I just made when I was telling the story, I had subcontractors. I didn't have employees. I had 1099. Yeah. So it's like all that different stuff to learn the language and how to file it. I ended up hiring an accountant that I still use to this day, like just trying to, because I was making so much money, I was getting nervous. I'm like, man, I ain't never had this, so I want to mess up, So then, all that to say, man, there's a lot of lessons in business and trying to scale and then taking hits, right? So I mean, original. I remember I told you I started off with a company that like I kind of joined into their platform, and that went south, man. One of the a significant amount of money that I was supposed to get, I didn't get. It almost took me, I almost closed, right? But then what I ended up doing is I reached out to an app developer and had our own app developed. So I had our own Morrell Scooters app, and it functioned like that. So that was such a big lesson, man, because I'm skimming over a lot of it, but it's a lot of lessons in that.
We're gonna go back. You good? Yeah, you good?
And then even then, so scaling up so much and then realizing that this is too big to sustain, right? And so then now you gotta reconcentrate on how to make it work. So how we ended up on the last leg of it is I got a contract with Ball State, which is a really cool situation too. So
salute to Ball State University.
Yeah. So how this worked out was I knew it would be a good place to be, and And it just so happened at the time. Now I think this is probably 2022, 21. This is really the big diversity, equity, inclusion stuff was jumping high, you know. So I was like, hey, we gotta take advantage of how we getting where you fit in. So they were looking for they were you know it worked out in my favor because you know they were looking for like a young like a black person to do some business with. And I worked out, boom, got it going, and we was on the campus, but only one doing it. And then that's what I mean, you know, that campus is big. It's like a city in itself, you know. So, I mean, it's such a blessing to do that, man. And it comes with challenges, man. You know, that business. I'll wrap it up on that business specifically, but that business is challenging because it's maintenance heavy, right? So you got to have constant equipment and constant capital reinvestment into it. So it's it was such a blessing to learn how to scale and all the different things that came that even paved the way for me to be able to engage politically now. Looking back, you know, I never would have thought I would be presenting stuff to city council. Like even our local city council here, we still have a scooter ordinance on staff now. I mean on the record now because I guess this would have been 2019, maybe 2020, whatever, somewhere in that frame is when I presented it to our city council here. It got sent to committee. They had like 5 committee meetings about it, and I had to go and explain what it was, sell the vision, you know what I mean? Then eventually that ordinance got passed, right? So I was doing, now looking back, it's pretty crazy. I was doing a lot of political stuff before I was actually in the arena.
So, me and you as homies, man, I think one dope thing about us is we able to hold each other accountable in multiple areas, like men of God, husbands, fathers, entrepreneurs, young black men, the challenges we face in this world. So I've seen your grind up close and personal almost more than anybody has. I know the ugly, the good, the bad, and the in-betweens. And one word that me and you have always kicked around is visionary. So I know what the technical version in Webster of a visionary is, but if Ronald Morrell Jr. had to rewrite the definition of a visionary based off of your own journey so far, what is that to you?
Man, so I would say a visionary is a blessing and a curse, man, because with a visionary, you're cursed with the ability, you're cursed with the pain of seeing something that's not there. But then you're blessed with the ability to be able to see things that aren't there. So visionary becomes something that is also, that's a blessing and a curse, right? So not everyone, if you're not called to be a visionary, you don't want it, right? Because your pain, the reality is a painful experience, right? Because you can see something that, in my perspective, you know, God has given me this clear vision. You can see what it's supposed to be, but the reality is not that. So you're in a constant battle between the vision that you have, the vision that God has given you, and what the reality is around you. So to be a visionary is both a blessing and a curse, and it's something that, you know, as you lean more into it, you start to get more confident, right? But when you first realize you're a visionary, you can get put off as being crazy, you know, because I mean, I make it real life right now, right? So,
Walt Disney was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, every visionary, I mean, you can get labeled as crazy, right? So, so for example, where we are right now, recording this, you know, I'm the mayor of Marion, and
Hold up, pause.
Yeah.
Not only is he the mayor of Marion, but the truth of the matter is he's probably been the greatest mayor that this city has seen. He can't say this, so let me say this for him. In 2 years, all of 2024, currently the end of 2025, going into 26, this man has done and accomplished more in these 2 years than a lot of mayors prior to him had before in the city of Marion. And we're talking about this city is almost 200 years old, correct? As an organization, right?
Yeah.
And you're not just talking to somebody that's a friend. I'm one of 5 voting members of the Redevelopment Commission Board, which is a very highly confidential board in the city of Marion, and I'll be going on my 3rd year. So when I tell you that this dude is a true visionary, he is. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it very much. Where we at right now is like this idea of building up. You know, I mean, there's no secret to what Marion has been through the last 25, 30 years, right? So now coming in and trying to build up something that people can't see, right? They don't believe, they don't know at this present moment that as we're investing, People get confused, right? Why are you investing X amount of $1 million? Why are these people coming in and spending tens of millions of dollars doing this and that? What we're building is something that presently seems dumb. I mean, you have to be honest with it, right? So, like, presently at the moment, to go and build a $7-8 million pedestrian bridge that's a concert venue seems it's dumb, right? It's very audacious and a dumb idea if you look at the present moment. But when you encompass the entire vision of everything that's going on and able to see how all the puzzle pieces play together before someone who's not a visionary sees it, then it makes sense. But to the natural eye and at this exact moment, a lot of these ideas seem like they don't make sense. And that's
so question, because you're a man of faith. Where does part of being a visionary is taking risk, stepping out on faith, right?
Yeah.
So what level of faith and risk tolerance do you have to have? Because you've done it as an entrepreneur. Now you're doing it on a political level.
Yeah.
And you piss people off either way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You make people mad. Mm-hmm. You don't please everybody. So especially with you being the mayor right now.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, from a risk, like a risk profile, risk tolerance, my risk tolerance is through the roof, man. Like I got a high risk and high stress tolerance, right?
Explain what risk tolerance is for people that don't know.
I mean, some people get very uncomfortable if they let's put it like this. So say you got 1099 subcontractors and they all got to get paid on Friday, and they already agreed. So you owe, all together you owe everybody $5,000. At this moment, you might only got $2,500. And you only got 2 days to get the. So then, this is real, right? So you got to hit that.
100%, yeah.
You got to hit that payroll on Friday, or these people gonna be mad, right? So and it's Wednesday, you only got $2,500. So in these next 2 days, your business got to hustle up, minus all the fees and taxes, everything. Your business got to hustle up an additional $2,500 to be able to pay everybody. That is when you're back against the wall. And so some people crumble in those situations, right? But me, I have a very high risk tolerance, to be able to deal with that. But I mean, again, from a faith perspective, like you gotta have faith to be willing to be a visionary anyway, right? Because if you don't believe, minimal, like put it like this, if you don't even believe in yourself, then nobody else is gonna believe in you. Like if I was going out here and trying to sell my vision, and I'm like, I really don't think it's gonna work, or kind of half-hearted, the people with the pockets to back you up aren't going to open up, right? So you got to have definitely faith in God for me, and also faith in yourself. And another thing, God gives you the vision, and so everybody don't got the same prescription as you. They don't have the same glasses, same contacts, right? So when somebody can't see your vision, you can't always be upset, right? So, but I mean, obviously it's your role to explain to the people who need to get it, to be able to give the capital to back it up. But everybody's not going to see your vision, and you got to be okay with that.
Oh, man, I seen you go from being, I won't say the church's name, but being a worship leader at a local church, transition into Morrell's Scooter. That's the company that he's talking about. He started a company called Morrell Scooters. Seen it explode during COVID. Somebody gonna make a documentary on COVID at one point. I feel like we're gonna see that in our lifetime. Yeah. Some businesses tanked, some businesses went up. You were one of your type of company was the type that benefited hugely. Then 2021, you opened a corporate office. We happen to be sitting in a location where that happened. So, I moved the studio down here. You had your headquarters down here, shared office space, co-op space, still exists, just different now. You take over the Boys and Girls Club, locally, and this is at the end of 2022, 21, 22, somewhere around there. I remember us sitting down, and you said, "Bro, I think I want to run for mayor."
Yeah, what a crazy idea, right? So, yeah, I don't think I've ever told the origin story of that, right? So this is the end of 2000.
Please tell it.
End of 2021. So I took over at the Boys and Girls Club.
Biggest toy giveaway ever.
Yeah, it all happened that same year. Yeah, that would have been. I think I took over at the Boys and Girls Club like August of 21. And
was it in 21?
Yeah, it was August of 21.
Wow.
And things were going, man. Like we were.
You was also doing Youth for Christ.
Yep. We were going, man, and then we started raising my things. I mean, it really was a blessing to be able to be a part of turning the organization around, man. So I think I got to about December of 21, and the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, his name is Mr. Jordan. Shout out Mr. Jordan. And
Shout out to Mr. Jordan.
Down, man. He was in school or something. I can't remember how we got to this point, but he had to do some coaching classes. It was like I think it was called Sherpa coaching. I think I got the book somewhere still, but it was like basically kind of like business coaching, one-on-one coaching, life coaching, all that kind of stuff wrapped into one. Career coaching, if you want to call it that. And then by the time we concluded our classes, this would have been early December, right? Kind of similar to where we are right now. And he said to me, he said, man, he said this was where he said, you got it. That's all he said. I said, okay. He said, you got it. He said, everybody don't got it. Some people wish they got it, but you got it. And I said, okay. And he said, he said, if you wanted to, man, you could be the mayor of that city. And now you got to realize, you tell me something like that. you tell me something like that. Like I mean, don't in any shape or form ever try to juice my head up because it's gonna go there immediately. So he said, you can probably be the mayor of that city. I said, for real? He said, yeah, man. And then I promise you, this is probably in the next week or two. I told my family, told my wife, everybody. I said, I think I'm gonna run for mayor. And they're like, what? Where did that come from? Like I'm like, no, I think I could do this for real. And then. Advanced a couple months. I think now we're in February, and I reach out to the local billboard company. I just put a billboard up with just my face
with a QR code.
And a QR code, yeah. And if you actually, which is full circle, right? It's the same thing with the scooters were, right? Like how you had to scan the QR code to download the app, pay all that kind of stuff. So it was just my face and the QR code. I had a picture. Had these big like diamond chains on, which that's the life I was living at that time doing scooters. Right,
tennis, three-tone tennis chains,
big diamond chains on, and I put the billboard up, and if you scan the QR code, it went to a video of actually me sitting in the Boys and Girls Club. It went to a video of me saying like, I wish I still had it. I think I deleted it, but it says, "Shh, don't tell anybody, but I'm getting ready to run for mayor," and that was it, bro.
And it went crazy. It went absolutely crazy, man. I remember that, and I remember the talk because I thought me and you was gonna be like Jay-Z and Dame Dash. I thought we was gonna build up Black Wall Street and just go crazy because of all the talks that we had. So I remember when you sat down and told me that you was running for mayor, I remember thinking like, okay, this is different than the Tesla with the gold rims and the chains and all that with Rollie on, all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like this is
yeah, bro.
But I think I definitely believe what you did at the Boys and Girls Club, the money, the life that you breathed into that place, the Pacers. I remember the toy drive. I remember coming, man, and just seeing the life and the grateful and thankfulness that people did. Shout out to you, Teron Davis. You and Teron.
Yep, and
Ronnie Drake. Y'all did the gas giveaway.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That went crazy. Which is the food giveaway that you just did. Had went nuts. So you talk about not only are you a visionary, but the heart. What the heck made you just pop up and say, I want to give away 30 bands, 35 bands worth of food? How did that happen?
Well, first, I didn't want to give away 35 bands of food. I was only giving away five bands worth of food. But so shout out to my family, my wife and my kids. We just had a new son, so we were sitting at home.
Salute to Ambrose.
Yeah, so shout out the young one. Shout out. And we were sitting at home, and obviously all the going in the world at the time when this was coming out was people were struggling, trying to get groceries and food. A lot of SNAP benefits that were at risk of being cut, and so I was it was on my mind. I was sitting next to my wife. And I said, hey, I think I want to go do a grocery giveaway. She's like, what? What are you talking about? I said, no, I think I'm about to go give away. I think this is probably like 4:15. The bank closed at 4:30. I'm like, I want to go do a bank. I want to go do a grocery giveaway. I'm like, I'm about to run to the bank before they close. If I can make it to the bank and they give me the money, before it closed, I'm about to go do it right now. And then she said, okay. She said, have fun. So I got out the house and sprinted to the bank. Drove fast as I could to the bank, got the money. And then I posted on Facebook like, hey, I can't remember the words I said. Something about doing the grocery giveaway, come out. And the intent was was to do 50 people at $100 each, right? So the 5,000. Get there, man, probably 200 people showed up, 250. And I got back on Facebook, and I'm like, man, on Facebook Live, and summarizing, I was like, there's a lot of people. I don't want to turn them away. They all came out here. If you can help any way, shape, or form, come out, like bring some money, help people load groceries, whatever you're doing. So we, after that call came out, man, people just kept showing up, man. It was so fast. Like, there's people giving $20, $5, $5,000, $10,000, $2,500, $1,000, $100, $200, and it just kept going. And then, like, I got all the receipts still in my drawer. It was the receipts, like the receipts. I don't know if you can see my hands all the way. The receipts are probably like 7.5 feet long. It's just stuff, man, and it really blessed the people, right? So it turned into way more discourse than whatever could have imagined, right? But the whole idea was just, truthfully, I was at home bored, and I knew people were having a hard time and wanted to help.
So thank you for doing that, by the way.
Oh, man, yeah.
Thank you on behalf of the community. Thank you for everybody that gave. Thank you very much, man, for helping those families. It's a very Christ-like thing, almost like Jesus feeding the 5,000, right? And tying it back to faith as a visionary, anytime you take that risk, whether people know it at the time or not, it always impacts in positive ways, right? So I know time is going on. There's so much to unpack from your story. We had to do so many episodes, but what would you say in your journey of being a visionary to someone that is sitting back contemplating on whether they should jump forward or not? How would you encourage and challenge somebody, whatever that may look like? It might not be as big as yours, but at their level, at their size, what would you say to somebody?
Man, I would tell everyone the same thing my grandma told me. Just do it. And the worst thing somebody can say is no. Like, you can't be afraid of failing or somebody telling you no. Just do it. Whatever you're doing, you're trying to raise some money, ask. The worst thing somebody can tell you is no. You start a business and it don't work out. Worst thing you can do is just gotta close it. It's like, so you gotta think about, again, your risk tolerance, where your risk is at, right? So if I know I can still wake up tomorrow and not be dead or in jail, let's do it. You got to go for it.
He's not lying. This dude, he's not lying.
You gotta go for it, man. Everything else it'll work itself out. But a lot of times people get stuck in this like where they can't make a decision about making a decision, right? Or this, I can't remember the technical terms, like some kind of version of procrastination that people do, to where it's like they get spun and so scared to make an action that they choose not to make an action, which is actually a worse action you can take. So my advice to everybody was just do it. The worst thing somebody can tell you is no. Worst thing somebody tell you is no, and the worst thing that can happen is you fail.
When you called me in 2021 to open up the studio publicly, what the heck was your mindset? Because not only are you a visionary, but you have a heart to help push other people towards levels of greatness. And rather people know this, and not as a mayor, you put a lot of people in positions since you've been in office to win, and just it's never been about you. It's always been about impacting other people. Yeah. What is it about helping build other people up that you want to?
Man, that's actually the most fun part, man, because this job, and being honest, is not always the most fun. But one of the things that does bring me joy is bringing other people experiences, giving other people chances and opportunities. So everyone, and there's no matter what level of business that people are functioning in, right? Or whether, even if it's not business, whether it's just somebody needs help. If you starting up I help people start up small bakeries, a hair care store. You know what I mean? We've helped people in our downtown region do that. We've also helped. We've also done with some stuff that costs a couple $1 billion too. So if anybody I think one of the greatest things about this role is the ability to be able to directly help other people, right? So whether you starting up your first business and you trying to be I don't know what most people do first, trying to be a barber, starting up your first barbershop, some help. We got small business help. We got a team, shout out Joe and Chuck and everybody that's on the economic development team. We got people that'll walk you through it. Or if you got a company that's trying to come to the city and you want to invest a couple $1 billion and you got 300, 400 employees, we got same people. We're there right there. And that's the one thing I do. I treat everybody the same, right? So whether you're somebody that's trying to come and invest billions of dollars or someone that's trying to make their first dollar, we're doing everything we can to make sure you succeed in our city.
That's brilliant, man. To wrap things up, man. How does a visionary help impact the future of people around them? If God gives you something and you're obedient, it may be hard for you, right? But ultimately you laying a foundation for other people to walk on. So why is that important?
I think visionaries built the country, right? Whether you it's talking about the United States, right? So whether you work at Amazon or whether you locally, whether you work at GM, whatever you're doing, this country is built by visionaries and risk takers, right? So being a visionary, you have the ability to be able to literally change the entire world, like the companies that I just named, or you can change the world for a few people around you, which is still changing the world for those people. So visionaries literally have the ability and proven to be able to change the whole entire world.
Can anybody be a visionary, or is it specific people?
No, I think anybody can do it. You just have to be willing to accept that burden. Again, going back to being the blessing and the curse. Don't ask, pray, whatever you do, whatever you believe in. Don't ask to be something that you don't want the burden. You don't want the burden for.
Appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Brother. Yep.
Hey, man, this is the KYREN Monteiro Show, Season 5, Episode number 2. Calling this Vision Talk. My new album, Visionaries, in stores now. What you think about the album, real quick, man?
Hey, it's great, man. There's a lot of hits on there, man. Obviously, the song that started off the episode is my favorite one. But if you haven't heard it, go check it out. All
right, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Follow Mayor Morrell on social media. Website launching soon, RonaldMorrellJr.com. He announced it on social media. So appreciate you for coming through, man. If you're a visionary, go do it, man. Execute. All right, man. Salute.